Hello again, everybody. Welcome back in. In this video, what I want to discuss is the interaction between two of our gear sets that we currently have in the game. And they actually involve the two that we are going to typically be adding to our support heroes. And one of them is going to be the Wing of Grace. So everybody knows now this is a new with the T3 set. It was introduced a while ago. This one here gives us the healing effect plus 30, and it increases the attack of the hero and the ally with the highest attack in range by 12%. So this is conditional, right? It says that it has to be the highest attack hero in range. All right. How is that different from then the Invigoration set that we currently have in game? It says that it's just going to, besides adding the healing effect of 25, when the hero is deployed, the hero is going to get the inspiration as well as one random ally in that support hero's range, which will then give them a 10% inspiration. So essentially the sets kind of are doing the same thing. They're applying similar buff. The only difference is one of them is bigger than the other. So before I get to the problem that I'm encountering, I want to focus here on three heroes. Just to show you here, Arrogance for this example has 17,600 attack. Lust is going to be the third highest because she only has 15,500. And finally here, I'm going to have my Twilight, and I'm going to show you all. Twilight is at 21,800. So she is actually the higher attack of these three. Now, let me go ahead and show you what I'm seeing the problem to be and what I'm trying to communicate with the developers as to how this needs to be resolved. I've actually been working on this for about a week. We've been going back and forth, and I've been submitting my responses either by text, written, or I have actually made videos, little clips that I then send over because I'm trying to illustrate what the problem is. Whether there's some translations issues or they're not really understanding what I'm trying to illustrate, that is to be determined, because really the resolution and the way that we left it was they're going to discuss it to see if there's anything that needs to be changed from their end, and from my end they just asked as to what suggestions I have to make these two sets work correctly, and I sent it to them, and this is exactly what I'm going to illustrate to you here in this video. Let me go over first the first thing that everybody that we all should be aware of, and that is let me just bring Twilight here, and that is that anytime that Invig, that's what I want to do. So anytime that we have this here inspiration, if we bring somebody else into the field that has the Wing of Grace and we then apply that, it's going to override it. So you saw we went from 10 to 12%. Okay, that interaction I was fine with, right? Because I did think to myself, okay, the higher one is bypassing or trying to improve on the one that is on, and is going to replace it with the higher one. All right, not a big deal. But here is what I eventually started to learn. So number one, let's go over how exactly this sets work. The Invigoration one is going to be the easiest one, because we all have dealt with it, right? So if we bring in one hero, we try to invig, it's going to pick one at random. In this case, it picked up Twilight, all right? And then if we bring somebody else to try to invigorate them, it's not going to try to put it on top of it. It's actually coded to go on to the next one, right? So now let me put the third hero in just to make sure. And then we put somebody that has a range that can cover them. And what happens? The Invigoration set puts the inspiration on the hero that does not have it. So it's not really random, right? It looks at the field and then starts saying, does this hero have it? Does this hero have it? Does this hero have it? Since it sees that the equal value inspiration is already on two heroes in her range, she then puts it on the hero that does not have it. Perfect. That's how we know the game to work, right? Okay. So then in this situation here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put Arrogance, Twilight. Remember, Twilight is the one with the higher attack, right? So I'm going to put Dolores down. She has the Wing of Grace. So ideally, or as the game states, the hero with the highest attack is supposed to be getting that inspiration, right? Okay. So one of the things, oh, and I don't think I showed you this, and I can go back to make sure that you're seeing this, because this is going to be key. So let me go back here. All right, let me stay here on this dragon. So I showed you Dolores, right? She had the Wing of Grace. And then I had Laurel here with Invigoration, Alo with Invigoration. And you kind of saw that from the buffs that I was applying. Laia with Invigoration. No, not you. You're not in this discussion. But I actually put Torador in a Wind of Grace set. All right, so I have 2 Wind of Grace here that I'm playing around with. So now let me go back, because I do want to illustrate this point. Okay, this is the key to my argument. So the game says that the Wind of Grace is going to go to the hero with the highest attack in the range. All right, here's what I'm going to show you. Torador here has the Wind of Grace, so his range is 2 tiles long. Both Twilight and Arrogance are in his range. So if I plop him down, the inspiration that comes from the Wind of Grace set got applied to the highest attack hero, in this case Twilight. Dolores here has a Wind of Grace set. Now, based on the language, it says that it should go to the heroes with the highest attack. So if I put it down, ideally then the game is going to try to put it on her, right? But here's what's happening. In this way, they coded it so when the game somehow detects that Twilight already has a 12% inspiration applied to her, the second highest attack hero gets it. So it looks at the range. The game incorporates the range and says who has it, who doesn't have it, and the person that doesn't have it is going to get it. So in this case, again, the Invigoration, not really random, and the Wind of Grace is the highest attack that is in the range, but does not already have it. Okay, let's keep that in mind. All right, so now let me go on. Now I'm gonna mix the two. So we already know that the game will put the lower value one, or we put the higher value one over the lower one, right? We lost the 10%, now the 12% is applied. All right. So the one thing that I was when I was playing around with this and trying to set up my compositions, I noticed that I was like, okay, so here I'm gonna put Twilight again. I'm gonna put here Lost. I'm gonna put Lost down. Okay, so here we go. So one of the things that we were custom use is Dolores is usually the first one on the field. So then I was looking, oh, Twilight is getting it. I'm gonna bring Hollow in. And I'm going to try to put the Invigoration. Where is the Invigoration? That's not Invigoration because that's from the artifact that she has. So it's just increased speed. So Lost didn't get it. Okay, so it should be here, right? No, it shouldn't because there's already a higher one in here. Should he have it? You would think, but it's not. The 10% is going off somewhere. Now I was looking at, well, Dolores already has it. So why isn't it applying? Where is it going? So I'm going to, again, Laia here. Here is the key. Now, I'm going to try to invigorate Lost. It does not apply it. It bypasses it. It's trying to override the 12%. This is what I've been trying to communicate with them. Anytime we place a hero down that has Invigoration, if there's already a 12% inspiration applied, it's going to be trying to apply it to that hero. Okay? How do I know this? Let me show you this one. Dolores, so if you go back, go back a little bit, when I'm showing Dolores on the screen, she had 8,800 plus her basic attack, which is really only about 12,000 when my Hyperion comes into play. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put Twilight all the way up here. I'll put Arrogance here. And now I am going to then put down Dolores to put the inspiration on Twilight because she's had the higher attack, right? Okay, so here now, if I wanted to get around this and say, I don't want you to even touch Twilight. Twilight should not even detect this, right? So I'm going to place Laurel. Should be outside of her range. So then the next inspiration should go to Arrogance. So I thought. Dolores is already down. Keep that in mind. She has the Wing of Grace set. I'm gonna put her down. She does have the Invigoration set. She gains 10%, right? Then I go look at Arrogance, and I'm like, where did it go? It tried. It didn't matter who was in the range, in Loris's range. The game saw, oh, I see an inspiration here. I'm gonna try to override it, and it doesn't override it. Why? Because it's the lower value one. So only the higher value one applies. So if you're in the development team and you're watching this, and when you were trying to send those messages to me through customer service and saying the higher one will always apply to the lower over the lower one, I concede to that point. But what you have to notice here is how the inspiration from one set is behaving towards the other. So instead of trying to invigorate the hero that we're trying to get invigorated, it's picking on the one that already has the Wing of Grace inspiration on and is trying to override it, because that's the same thing we see with the Wing of Grace. If we invigorate somebody, the Wing of Grace then is going to try to override that. That is the issue here. Now you might be saying, well, no, maybe Arrogance was not in range. All right, so let's do it. Let me do it this way then. So let me put Twilight all the way over here. Let me put Dolores here. Now that she applies that, now let me put Hex. I don't think he's geared, but that's fine. The point is that I'm gonna try again. Look at how far. I'm not even in Twilight's range. I'm gonna try to invigorate Hex. Did he get it? No. It's because it's trying to override the Wing of Grace. The way, okay, so one regard this here, I perceived it to be a bug. It's not trying to put the inspiration on a hero that doesn't have it. It's just completely bypassing them. And the Wing of Grace one is the one that is getting in the way of the whole thing. So see, it's not broken. The Invigoration Set is not broken. It's the Wing of Grace inspiration that is somehow kind of gets Fritz in the game, and then it's trying the inspiration from the Invigoration sees it and it goes, no, I must go here. I must go here. I'm gonna try to override this, and it's annoying. This is the one thing that I've been trying to communicate with them, is that the sets are behaving mutually exclusive from each other. They should have it so they don't. That the same thing that you are affording with the invigoration, right? Of saying this here already has inspiration, so let's go to the next one. You did it with the Wing of Grace one, the Wing of Grace as well, right? The Wing of Grace affords you the ability to not apply it to the highest attack hero. It's the highest attack hero that does not have the inspiration. So the game is coded to say, I already see it. I'm going to apply it to the next hero. Same thing with Wing of Grace, same thing with Invigoration. What is happening is that there's this interaction going on between the two inspirations, that they're trying to override each other and ignores everything else in the range. So it's almost like a dog seeing a squirrel. The dog is supposed to have a directive. It gets a command. It's supposed to go fetch the stick, but then it sees the squirrel, boom, it vaults for it. That's exactly what this is doing. Once we apply the inspiration from the inspiration from the Invigoration set, it detects that Wing of Grace one and it goes, I must go there. So this is the issue that I've been having. Now, I'm doing this video two reasons. Number one, I'm hoping that they see this a little bit more now that it's in the open field and actually take into account what I'm trying to communicate. Number one, I'm hoping that comes across, that there is something wrong with how these two sets are interacting with each other. Two, I'm doing them more like a player service announcement. If you're going to be bringing these sets into the battlefield and you're going to try to put your compositions together, you're going to have to do it in a manner where I think that the best way that it worked for me is to have the Wing of Grace sets be on heroes that don't have a very large healing or very large range. So people that I'm talking about here is like Hollow, right? I'm not gonna put a Wing of Grace set on Hollow. There might be situations where you could if you wanted to, especially if you maybe she's the last placement and your hero with the highest attack is the last placement and you have everything else set up. Then yes, maybe you want to do that. But as of this moment, my advice is that you take your hero with the highest attack and whoever you decide to put the Wing of Grace sets on, and those be the last people that you bring onto the field when you're setting everything up, so you are not overriding anything that you did with the Invigoration set, especially if you're having multiple inspiration type sets coming into play. So that is exactly the kind of bug that I'm seeing. I'm letting you all know exactly how this is behaving, in part because also I wanted to get fixed. And it is something that also would help if you, by just making the comment on the video portion of this to say, yeah, this shouldn't be happening, right? So I think that, or you even go to their Discord and suggestions say, do not allow Wing of Grace inspiration to override the inspiration from Invigoration, and vice versa. Make them work together instead of being mutually exclusive from each other and trying to fight each other out, because that's what's happening and it is annoying. So take this into mind as to how this is playing out. I just wanted to kind of do the video again, just drive the point across. Hopefully it gets through that this is an annoying little feature that is going on with this too. And for you, if you do decide to then incorporate, if you're lucky enough to put a Wing of Grace, a good Wing of Grace set together, you want to bring into the field to try to get that 2% extra attack, keep this in mind. Helps in terms of helping you put everything, deploy everything how you need it to deploy, especially in Samurai, because in Samurai is where we have all these healers to support units that have these very large ranges. So you have to be really conscious as to who you're targeting and when you're going to place your last unit in when it comes to DPS, having a high attack DPS unit. So that is kind of how why I wanted to make this video, because one, I wanted to make you aware of this weird interaction going on, this little fighting going on, that one is already coded for both sets, that if they see that, you know, there's already a hero inspired, that it'll skip over and go to apply to the next, especially for the Invigoration, because we all are familiar with it. And then on top of that, the Wing of Grace is actually behaving like that. They coded it like that. It's not always going to go to the highest attack hero in range. No, once he sees it, it says, no, I'm going to go on to the next one, right? So that's exactly what my argument is going to be in terms of making these two sets then work with each other, instead of trying to fight each other and trying to then override what the other one is doing. All right, folks, that'll do it for this video. Thank you all very much for tuning in and watching. Please do hit like and subscribe if you appreciated the content of this video, and I will see you all in the next Watch Your Realms video.